Hello and welcome to another episode on Srilingo. Today is a very special episode. First, I want to just help you imagine something. Imagine a world where you cannot study, where you cannot work, where you cannot wear clothes of your choice, where you cannot go to a beauty salon or even a gym, where you cannot travel alone. This is not an imaginary world. This is a real world. On the 15th of August 2021, when the Taliban took over Afghanistan, since then, this is the state of affairs for women in Afghanistan. Today, I have Maryam Sediqi with me. She was living in Afghanistan. She is a refugee from Afghanistan in Switzerland. She's a working woman now. And not only that, Maryam is also using all her experiences that she has had in her homeland to speak up for the women who continue to live there by co-founding the Afghan Women's Association in Switzerland. Mariam, welcome to Srilingo. I'm so grateful that we could be doing this. I have read a lot of Afghani authors, be it Nadia Hashmi or be it uh, Khalid Hosseini. So I feel
Mhm.
a lot of pain when I see the condition of women in Afghanistan today. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I want to start by asking you, how was your journey from Afghanistan to Switzerland?
First of all, thank you very much, Smita. I'm very happy to be here today, and you reaching out to me for this podcast. I think it's very important, and I feel honored that people still talk about Afghan women because obviously, when we see around the world, there are just a little much information from Afghanistan right now and from Afghan women, and that's hurting. That's very, very sad for me. So my journey from Afghanistan, you asked me the question. I was actually about 5 years old when I went out from Afghanistan together with my family. So our journey was very long. We went through Pakistan, then Iran, several years. We lived there. After to Turkey, 3.5 months, and then from Turkey to Greece, 1.5 year, and from there we moved from two countries again, Italy and France, to reach our, I would say, final destination, Switzerland. So back then, when I came to Switzerland, I was about 9 years old. And I didn't speak the language, of course, German, but I spoke a little bit English. Due to my aunt in Iran, we studied together. I studied her books, so that's why. And by the way, just to tell you, I also talk a little bit Urdu. So I
Oh,
understand Urdu because of the Bollywood movies. I'm very fan of Shah Rukh Khan, big
okay.
fan. Um, and yeah, so languages were actually my strength. And when I came to Switzerland, so I had to start from zero. I went to the fourth class, and it's been amazing for me because I love to study. I love to go to school, and for me, it was like a dream came true. That's why I never gave up, and I was not thinking like I can't do it. I think as a kid, you don't really think about those things. Can I do it? What I want to do from with my future? Back then for me it was like, just I want to speak this language. I'm gonna live here now because my parents gave me finally this security, we're gonna be here. So then after the school, and after the school and after my bachelor's, I decided to speak up for Afghan women. So I started actually to do that even back then in school when Taliban didn't took over. But in 2021, what I saw, it was just go back to the, when Afghans say, to the dark ages, because the Taliban were there and they're coming back after 20 years. The
Yes.
Americans were there. So that was devastating. That was shocking for us all, especially for all our Afghan women who are living like outside of Afghanistan. And I was like just reaching out to everybody, like what we can do, what we can do. We couldn't do nothing. We were helpless. And the first thing it came across my mind, I have to speak up. I have to just use my energy, but also use my experiences to do something that at least it's good for them. At least I can like somehow help them, because if I would sit here and continue living my life in Switzerland, it would not it would I can't do that. We came up with two of my very good friends with the idea to build or to launch the Afghan Women Association Switzerland. What we do, we have two missions. The first mission is in Switzerland, of course, to help also Afghan women to connect or to reconnect to each other, to build a network. And in, I don't know how much you know about Switzerland, but Switzerland is in regarding of work and integration, it's a very hard. It's a very hard country, comparing to the other European countries. So you can really get lost here when you're alone. And I think it's a good idea to have somehow an association here for all women, for Afghan women, to reach out if they need help regarding to search a job or studies or integration. And the second mission, of course, is in Afghanistan. What we saw right now, Afghan women, or a lot of them, they can't work, they can't go to school, they can't go to university, and that's the main problem. That's the main cause, and that's also the problem why they don't have a lot of money. They have real financial issues. So what we did is till now we help them financially, and but not just, for example, Kabul. We have like set a mission also to help all across Afghanistan and all ethnicity, not like just Pashtuns or just Hazaras or Tajiks. We are open for everyone, and we want to reach out to everyone. So yeah, I can say luckily we did that, and we are continuing doing this in Afghanistan. But of course, our biggest mission is somehow to create jobs for Afghan women in their homes, even that they can do something and help themselves financially.
There is in Afghanistan, there is something called the Ministry of Vice and Virtue, which sets rules for women. Like you said, uh, before the Taliban took over in 2021, there were quite a few women who had government jobs, especially in the Ministry of Health, if I'm not wrong. But since the Taliban took over, women are actually getting paid to sit at home. High schools for girls have been shut down. If you don't wear the hijab, or if you travel long distance without a male relative accompanying you, it can bring serious punishments, for not only for the girl, but sometimes for her family as well. As somebody who's living away, far away from Afghanistan, but you are so heavily invested in the, emancipation of women in Afghanistan, how, what, because you moved away from Afghanistan when you were 5 years old, what what keeps you going to fight for these women? I understand that it's your homeland and it's your roots, but it's been so many years. uh, what keeps you going, Mariam? Why do you want to continue to fight for them? I mean, like, it would be easy to say that now you're in Switzerland and you have the best of
Mm.
the Western world, and you have so many opportunities that you can create for yourself. Where does the selflessness come from?
I think, or I believe that I could be there right now. So I compare myself to Afghan women in Afghanistan every day. It could be me being there at home, sitting somewhere and to hoping to just go back to school or to university or to work. And there is no difference between me and an Afghan girl in Afghanistan. So I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky that my parents moved from that country in that time. But otherwise, it's just like I can't imagine something else, because I am from there, and I could be that little girl. I could be that woman who is just crying her eyes out every night, not going to university, not can't work, can't afford something for their families. Because we just have to know here also there are a lot of women, they were like the financial pillar in their family. So after they can't go to work, there's also not money for the family. They're not always men who are providing. It's also women, also in that time, women who provide for their family, because they were Afghan women, I must say here, they're very intelligent, and they work very hard. And so that's, I think that's the motivation that it's keep going. And I saw also results, how they are happy when you just reach out to them and when you just do something for them. So they are very, very grateful for that, and I'm grateful that I'm even able to help. So I think that's why I always believe to keep going and not giving up, because I believe also the day will come that they will go back to school, go back to university, and will work again.
I hope so that day comes too. I mean, women who are living in Afghanistan, especially young women who want to study, who want to go to university, they sometimes hold rallies in Afghanistan, but those are usually pressed down easily by the Taliban. Their hope and defiance cry is bread, work, freedom. Give me bread, work, freedom. That's what
Yeah.
Afghani women say on the streets. But I just actually, before I uh, came to do this podcast with you, I was doing a little bit of last minute research on Afghanistan. And like you said, it's not only the men, even women are financial contributors at home. There was the story of a lady who married her 6-year-old daughter off because there was not enough food in their house. So she was happy that at least her daughter would get enough to eat in her marital home. So this is the kind of condition that Afghan women have been reduced to. Women who actually have the potential to work, women who are intelligent, women who can fend for themselves are sitting at home with no money, with children to take care of, and are not even able to provide basic amenities. I mean, I may not know everything about the Sharia, but I know this, that Sharia allows women to work. The Sharia, by Sharia law, women are allowed to work. So the Taliban, I think, is not completely Sharia oriented. The Taliban has come up with its own version of the Sharia. What do you have to say?
As a Muslim woman, as
Yeah.
an Afghan woman, I just can say Talibans are not how I can say that it's not very offending, but it's not about Sharia, it's even about religion, Islam. And also all the women across the world, there are a lot of other Muslim countries. Which country did shut down the schools from the Muslim women? No one. So school, education, work is a part of Islam. And if a woman wants to work, so she is absolutely allowed to work. And there is no man who can tell her don't work. Even her husband, he can accept her, or they can accept each other before the marriage in that state. I want to work after marriage, but he can't say that after marriage you're not allowed to work. If she wants to stay at home, I always say that if a woman wants to stay at home, it's her choice. If she wants to go to work, it's her choice. And so I understand both parties, but I can't understand when someone come to me and tell me Islam tells you you're not allowed to work, or Islam tell you you're not allowed to go to study, and Islam doesn't allow women to have that power. This is all absolutely wrong. And what Taliban are doing today is just a massive mistake, just putting Sharia in religion and telling the world, oh, we are actually acting, or we are acting regarding our religion. And that's not true. That's just not true. And I think a lot of people know that already, but otherwise, a lot of them, especially Western countries, they don't know, or they don't want to understand, and they think, oh yeah, that's Islam, that's religion, that's the Muslims, they are like that. It's something really simple and normal. But I can tell you, till now today, I don't really understand their strategy. I don't know what they want to prove to the world. I don't know what's their next step. But what I know is they will definitely fail. Whatever they do, they will fail in that, and they will open the schools again, because a society without women can't exist. And I don't know when they will understand that, but the day will come that they will understand that society without women can't exist.
I completely agree with you because I'm a practicing Hindu. I was born a Hindu. So in Hinduism, we say Prakriti and Purush. Prakriti meaning uh, the female version, Purush meaning the male
Yeah,
version. Prakriti and Purush
yeah,
must always go hand in hand. for
Yeah,
betterment of not only society but for generations to come. And here they have taken away one section completely, so
exactly.
it makes one wonder. Sometimes what I think, Mariam, is you can negotiate with governments, you can
Yeah.
negotiate with organized bodies, but how do you negotiate with a terrorist organization? How do you negotiate with terrorists? I mean, I just feel very
That's
sorry.
I feel also sorry that the whole world closed their eyes when it comes up to Afghanistan and Afghan women. I mean, all the feminists or all these women organization or all those international organization, no one really care anymore about that. The girls are still at home. The women are still at home. They can't go to I mean, work is one thing, but school and university, this is education they need for the next generation. So how they will even build the next generation, or they want to Afghan to completely, I mean, burned off of this earth, or what's their strategy? Again, I don't really know. So I feel very sad that everyone, no one want to help them, no one really care. On the other hand, as you said, I see them also as terrorists. They are, because if you are not a terrorist or you're not a terrorist organization, you would absolutely not doing that. Even I heard different things from people on the ground. From the people on the ground, they tell me, I get also information from there that the Taliban are not like harming people on the ground. They have their rules, and you have to act upon their rules. So that's actually basically for me the same. If I'm not allowed to speak up, or I'm not allowed to go to school and just accept what they're saying, of course they don't harm me. But if I would speak up, I would be the first person maybe they kill.
Through your organization, the Afghan Women's Association in Switzerland, besides creating a network for all the women who are coming to different European countries, especially in Switzerland, to connect to one another and, search opportunities for a newer life, what else are you doing for women who are in Afghanistan? So besides, I know you said that you are not discriminating, it could be Tajik, it could be Afghan. You are helping women as much as possible, sending them money to feed their kids and things like that. But because you are in a place where your voice could be heard, Mariam, how are you helping others look at this in a more serious manner? Like you said, people have almost forgotten Afghan women. It's like as if, women never existed or don't exist in Afghanistan anymore, but they do. They are real human beings. And you cannot discard them altogether. There is no society, there will be no future generation if women don't exist. How are you making people aware by living in Switzerland?
So what we do, we work also with other organizations and with other non-profit organization, but also government organization, to just, as I said, to put some awareness. The Afghan women are still in Afghanistan and they are still fighting. So I think the best way is also to cooperate here with the other organizations and to talk with them, to just open a conversation. I think that's the best way how you can also discuss those matters. And for example, I worked with, or I work still, I cooperate with UNHCR a lot, and that was also a great opportunity for me to talk about Afghan women, also in high level events like in Geneva, to go there to raise my voice about Afghan women in Afghanistan or Afghan women here in Switzerland. And I think those are actually the steps that we can do. But otherwise, there's always much to do. You can do much more. I believe really much you can do much more, but we just have to also understand that we do that as a part-time, for example, as a part-time next to our lives, next to our life that is continuing here in Switzerland. So we do that, and I think we put also a lot of energy, and we're happy to do that. But on the other hand, everything is going not as fast as we wished for. So everything is like step by step, and slowly matter. And that's also a little bit complicating, I would say, for the Afghan women on the ground, because they believe we don't do much, I guess. because of course they are happy that what we are doing, not just we, other organization, but whatever we do, if their situation is not changed, they believe nothing is actually done. So I really understand them. I really understand them, because at the end of the day, they want another situation. They want go back like before 3 years. And that's how we feel also most of the time helpless. You can't do everything, but you can do something to help also the organization, or to put your opinion there and to discuss there these issues and understand each other. Because even UNHCR, they have limits, and they can't do everything. And I think UN is the only non-profit organization on the ground right now. So they are doing their best also. They are doing their best. But we believe as Afghans, you can put more pressure on Taliban, or the world organizations can put more pressure on Taliban government to change these anti-women rules. But again, the governments are just silent, and this is what hurting us the most.
But
Yeah.
one thing that is completely non-negotiable for me as a woman is, not allowing kids to go to study, not allowing young women to go to universities. That is something
Yeah.
that I cannot come to terms with at any point in my life, I think. Right now, by suppressing women, you have turned them into slaves in Afghanistan. And that is what hurts me, that it's how many people can escape. I'm sure most would love to escape. Most would. I mean, see the things that I said at the beginning of this podcast, that imagine a world where you're not allowed to go to study, you're not allowed to wear what you want, you're not allowed to go to a salon, for example. All of this might seem so imaginary, like a bad Disney film, but this is not a bad Disney film. This is actual women going through this every day. And as women, irrespective of our cultures, irrespective of our beliefs, if we don't take the initiative in our small way to at least speak for them, even if 100 people watch this podcast, I'd be very happy that I was able to contribute, or at least drive home the message to at least 100 people who, like you said, have forgotten about Afghan women as if they don't exist on earth anymore. They do exist. They are real human beings. And if we continue to let Taliban weaken them on a daily basis, kill them on a daily basis, who knows, maybe one day there will be no Afghan men left in the world, because there'll be no Afghan women left in the world.
Yeah. This is what I always talk to others too. So I think depriving people or women from education, it's not a solution.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you can see in Afghanistan right now, financially, no one is doing well. A lot of men, a lot of young men are suffering on the ground. And I can say also a lot of them, they are against the rule that women can't go to school. Because again, women are also contributing to bring money to the house. So this is an issue that I think everyone is talking about or thinking about that. But on the other hand, still we as human, or as Afghans, or you, for example, I'm so happy that you're even thinking about Afghan women. We can just do as much as we can do, and hope that the other international governments put some pressure on the Taliban government to accept the international rules. Because I don't know which country on right now on the earth there is one country like Afghanistan who are depriving women from education, who are setting up these rules to, I don't know, to define their power. This is not the way it will go, and this is not the way they will continue their power. I guess, and it will come the day. I really believe. I don't know. Maybe this is also a little bit naive, but I believe that they will lose because they can't go on without women. It's me. I mean, it's not now 2.5 years. No one did put pressure on them, so they are continuing with their rules, and I think that's what is giving them power. And they're receiving every weekly money. from America, so that we have to. They don't have on the ground the banks full with the money, so they are receiving the money, and they are not giving the money to the society or to the people or to the women. They're just keeping the money for themselves and living with that money, continuing their lives or whatever. They're just paying the salaries wherever they want to. So those are actually real issues, as you said, real life issues, problems. But again, I'm very, very sad and shocked till today that no one really wanna take care or just speak up for the Afghan people.
Last words, Maryam. I'll only say this, that there's a government that's due to change in America soon because elections are going to be held there as well. Who knows if Taliban will continue to receive its money? Uh, Nobody
Yeah,
wants to work with terrorists, which is why no big companies want to go and invest in Afghanistan.
yeah,
If there is no
exactly.
investment, if there are no big companies coming there, there will be lack of employment, which is very evident on ground today. So
Yeah,
that's lack of income. Lack of income means misery at home, not able to feed children, not able to take care of
mm-hmm.
families. So all in all,
Yeah,
I mean, besides the Taliban being happy to be in power, everybody else on ground is unhappy. We discussed women because Srilingo focuses on women empowerment, but I'm not leaving
yeah,
the men behind. There are so many Afghan men who would want, changes
yeah,
in the government, probably changes in
exactly.
policy, probably want employment, want to do things for their
Yeah,
family, which they cannot at this point. Well, like I said, we don't negotiate with terrorists because you can't negotiate with terrorists. But I hope a day comes, and all my prayers, my prayers to Mahadev, that one day Afghan women will see a new sunshine, will see a new day, a new dawn of hope, and will be able to go back to school, will be able to travel on their own, will be able to wear dresses of their choice, and will be able to live lives freely.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Smita, for this podcast and for your thoughts and opinions. I really appreciate to be here. And yeah, so I really also hope that one day the sunshine will be there. And as we said, after every dark night, there is also a day full of sunshine. And we really hope and believe and do a lot of prayers, especially in these months of Ramadan, that all Afghan women will see one day, freedom. And as you said, also to choose their life, not just not regarding university, school, work, but choose a life that they want. Choose everything what they want to do in their lives, because they are also human with dreams, and they work hard for their life to even be alive. And yeah, so thank you very much for that. And I really hope that the world can, some people see this podcast and put some awareness on the world, across the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mariam. Thank you for your time.